The Miura broke every rule in the book. Let's start with the engine layout. Most sports cars of the era had their engines in the front, but the Miura? It had its V12 mounted transversely, just behind the driver. This mid-engine layout wasn't just radical, it was revolutionary. It lowered the car's center of gravity and improved weight distribution, resulting in handling dynamics that were simply unheard of back then. The design was equally groundbreaking. When the Miura was unveiled at the 1966 Geneva Motor Show, it left the audience speechless. Marcello Gandini, working for Bertone, sculpted a body that was as breathtaking as it was aerodynamic. Those seductive curves, those iconic eyelash headlight trims, and the low, wide stance made the Miura look like it had been beamed in from the future. Even today, more than 5 decades later, it remains one of the most beautiful cars ever made. Pop open the rear clamshell, and you'll find a masterpiece of engineering, a 3.9-liter V12 that originally churned out 350 horsepower in the Miura P400, the first production model. Later versions, like the P400S and the P400SV, upped the ante with more power and refined engineering. The sound of that engine is something else entirely. It's not just noise, it's music. A deep, throaty growl at low revs builds into a ferocious scream as the needle climbs. It's the kind of sound that makes your heart race, even if you're just listening to it on a YouTube video. Driving a Miura isn't like driving a modern supercar. There are no electronic aids, no computers to save you if you get it wrong. It's just you, the car, and the road. The steering is heavy at low speeds, but it comes alive as you pick up pace. The throttle response is sharp, and the car feels eager, almost impatient to be driven hard. But let's be honest, it's not a car without flaws. The cabin gets hot, thanks to the engine being right behind your back. Visibility is limited, and early models could be a bit twitchy at high speeds. But those imperfections are part of the Miura's charm. They remind you that this is a raw, analog machine built for thrill seekers. The Miura wasn't just a car, it was a statement. It screamed wealth, power, and individuality. Celebrities and playboys of the 1960s and 70s were drawn to it like moths to a flame. Frank Sinatra reportedly said, "You buy a Ferrari when you want to be somebody. You buy a Lamborghini when you are somebody." That quote perfectly captures the Miura's mystique. It wasn't just a car for driving, it was a car for being seen in. Park a Miura outside a cafe in Monte Carlo or on Rodeo Drive, and it would draw a crowd faster than an A-list celebrity. Lamborghini didn't rest on its laurels. The original Miura P400 was followed by the P400S in 1968, which featured slight improvements like more power, better brakes, and a more luxurious interior. Then came the P400SV in 1971, the ultimate evolution of the Miura. With 385 horsepower and a refined chassis, the SV was faster, more stable, and more desirable than ever. There was even a one-off model, the Miura Jota, created by Lamborghini's test driver Bob Wallace. It was a track-focused version of the Miura with lightweight materials and more power. Though the Jota was destroyed in an accident, its spirit lived on in the handful of Miura SVJ models built for special customers. The Miura's production ended in 1973 with just 764 examples built, but its influence is immeasurable. It set the template for what a supercar should be: mid-engined, fast, beautiful, and exclusive. Cars like the Ferrari 512 BB, the Porsche 911 Turbo, and even Lamborghini's own Countach owe a debt to the Miura. Today, the Miura is one of the most sought-after classic cars in the world. At auctions, pristine examples fetch millions of dollars. Collectors and enthusiasts regard it not just as a car, but as a rolling piece of history, a symbol of an era when bold ideas and fearless innovation ruled the road. Even in a world of hybrid hypercars and electric rockets, the Miura still matters. It reminds us of a time when cars were built with passion, when designers and engineers pushed the boundaries simply because they could. It's a reminder that driving can be an emotional experience, not just a practical one. So the next time you see a Lamborghini Miura, take a moment to appreciate it. It's more than just a car, it's a masterpiece, a legend, and the very soul of Lamborghini. And who knows, maybe one day you'll find yourself behind the wheel of this automotive icon, with that glorious V12 roaring behind you and the open road ahead. Now, wouldn't that be something?